Welcome to the D-Dam Mix channel. We invite you to watch our new story. To stay up to date with new stories, subscribe to our channel. The world could burn down, and I'd still be here, on my porch, cradling a warm cup of freshly brewed coffee, a book in my lap, and nothing but the sound of nature humming in the background. The city was close, but from here, civilization felt like a distant rumor. It was just me, the fresh morning air, and the slow, peaceful rhythm of a weekend unfolding exactly the way I liked it. I flipped a page, sinking deeper into my story, when a sharp vibration rattled the wooden armrest of my chair. My phone. I sighed, half annoyed, half curious. When I saw Ryan's name, the irritation melted. A smile tugged at my lips before I even answered. "Hey, love," I greeted, stretching my legs out. "Something urgent?" His voice was warm, familiar. "Not really. Just wanted to run something by you." There was a brief pause, then his next words landed like a dropped weight. "I already bought the ticket, I'll be there tomorrow." I straightened up. "Tomorrow?" "Yeah. To move in, like we talked about." His tone was light, casual, as if this was just a tiny detail, barely worth mentioning. I stared at the trees in front of me, their leaves shifting gently in the morning breeze. Tomorrow. This wasn't a dream. We'd talked about it, sure, but suddenly it felt much bigger, much more real. Ryan, in my house. Every day. His things next to mine. His presence woven into the fabric of my space. "You're still sure about this, right?" he asked. I let out a slow breath, the kind you take before stepping into deep water. "Ryan, I've thought it through. Yes, this is big, but we've been together for 6 months. No point dragging things out. There's plenty of space here. I want to be with you." There was a pause, then the soft exhale of his relief. "Perfect," he said. "Just one little thing." I frowned. "What thing?" "It's kinda loud here." "I'll explain later." "See you tomorrow." "Love you." "Ryan, wait." But the line had already gone dead. I stared at my phone, the screen now blank, my own reflection staring back at me. One little thing? Probably nerves. He was nervous. That's all. Still, something gnawed at me, something small but persistent, like a single thread in a sweater unraveling. I took a long sip of coffee, the warmth sliding down my throat, and tried to push the thought away. Whatever it was, I'd deal with it tomorrow. I was wrong. So wrong. I stood frozen on my front porch, gripping the railing as if it could anchor me in place. My peaceful home, my sanctuary, had just been ambushed. It was like watching a circus spill out of a too small car, except this was real, and it was happening in my front yard. Ryan stood at the center of it all, looking sheepish, shifting his weight from one foot to the other like a guilty kid caught sneaking cookies before dinner. But he wasn't alone. He was surrounded. His parents. His sister. His brother-in-law. A lanky, awkward younger brother who looked barely out of high school. And the twins, identical, wide-eyed, full of energy, bouncing like caffeinated rabbits around the suitcases and duffel bags that littered my driveway. There were so many bags. I blinked, hoping maybe, just maybe, this was a stress-induced hallucination. But no. Ryan's mother, Regina, was already peering into my windows, nodding approvingly like a home appraiser. His sister, Karen, was dragging a suitcase toward my porch, her husband Ron hauling what looked like a portable crib. And the twins? They were running in circles, shrieking with joy, their sneakers thudding against the wooden steps. I managed to find my voice. "What the hell, Ryan?" He winced. Remember that little thing I mentioned?" I gaped at him. Was he serious? This is not a little thing. This is an entire family reunion. Ryan sighed, rubbing the back of his neck like he always did when he knew he was in trouble. "We're always together. It's a family rule. I didn't have a choice." I let out a slow, controlled breath, trying to stop the pounding in my skull. You didn't have a... I closed my eyes for a second. If I kept looking at the madness unfolding, I might lose it. I reopened them, forcing myself to stay calm. Okay. How long? Ryan hesitated. Not long. Then, softer, probably. Probably. That single word sent a shiver down my spine. I scanned the crowd again. Karen was already inspecting my patio furniture. Regina was now talking loudly about potential upgrades. Ron was setting up what appeared to be an entire baby station near my porch swing. And the twins? They had found a stick and were sword fighting. Oh, God. The days that followed were an assault on my sanity. My house, my peaceful, quiet house, had become an overcrowded, never-ending family gathering. It felt less like my home and more like a community center that had lost all sense of order. Every room was occupied. Every surface was covered in someone else's belongings. My office? Gone. Karen had taken it over as if she had signed a lease. Her husband, Ron, and their twin tornadoes, Dolly and Coley, had settled in so completely that my bookshelves were now stuffed with baby blankets, stuffed animals, and a diaper bag. A diaper bag. The twins had boundless energy. Morning, noon, and especially at night. They raced through the hallways, their feet pounding against the wooden floors like tiny galloping horses. They screamed, they giggled, they knocked over things I didn't even know could be knocked over. And every single morning, the kitchen turned into a battlefield. Mom, I don't want oatmeal, one of the twins wailed at breakfast. You have to eat something, sweetie, Karen replied while juggling a baby bottle and buttering toast at the same time. I want pancakes, the other twin shrieked, slamming her tiny fists onto the table. Meanwhile, Ryan's mother, Regina, stood at the stove, arguing with Karen about the correct way to cook eggs, while Ron fumbled with the toaster, making it smoke for the third time this week. The scent of burnt toast clung to the air. It was like a permanent reminder of my unraveling patience. That morning, with dark circles under my eyes and exhaustion weighing on me like a heavy blanket, I stumbled into the kitchen. My book, my last thread of sanity, was clutched to my chest. All I wanted was coffee. Sweet, life-giving coffee. I reached for my espresso machine. Pressed the power button. Nothing. I tried again. Still nothing. Checked the plug. Dead. A slow, creeping horror slithered up my spine. I turned. Karen, I said, my voice dangerously calm. Do you know what happened to my coffee machine? Oh, she said with a chuckle, barely looking up. That was Ron. Of course, it was Ron. He's hopeless with appliances, she continued. You should have seen him with our vacuum. I raised a hand. What did he do? Karen sighed, waving a hand as if it wasn't a big deal. He pressed the wrong buttons, put in the wrong grounds, maybe poured something where he shouldn't have. Anyway, it made a funny noise and then just stopped. I blinked. Ron broke my coffee machine? Karen shrugged. I mean, it's just a thing, right? Machines can be replaced. I gripped my book so tightly my fingers ached. My vision blurred, not from tears, not yet, but from sheer, blinding frustration. Without another word, I turned and walked out onto the porch before I either screamed or cried, possibly both. I stepped onto the porch and froze. My porch. My peaceful, quiet sanctuary. Or at least, what used to be. And there, in my rocking chair, sat Thomas, Ryan's father, legs stretched wide, taking up space like he owned the place. A plate of half-eaten pie rested on his stomach, and crumbs cascaded onto his shirt, his lap, and my wooden floor as he casually worked through a crossword puzzle. I clenched my jaw so tightly I could feel a headache forming. He didn't even look up. He just chewed, scribbled something in the newspaper, and shifted slightly, making the chair creak under his weight. My chair. My chair that I had sat in for years, sipping coffee, reading, breathing. And now it was covered in pie crumbs and taken over like the rest of my house. A fresh wave of rage bubbled up inside me. I was 2 seconds away from hurling my book at him when I heard Ryan's voice behind me. "Morning, love. How'd you sleep?" I turned slowly, still fuming. "How did I?" "Ryan, everything is horrible." My voice was tight, shaking. "My coffee machine is broken." He sighed, rubbing his face. "I know. I'll get you a new one." "I don't want a new one. I just wanted to drink coffee in peace in my home, in my chair." Ryan followed my furious gaze and finally noticed his father. "Right. Hang on." He walked over and cleared his throat. "Dad, maybe let Lisa have her chair?" Thomas looked up, blinking. "Oh. Sure, sure." He grunted as he stood, groaning as if he was the one being inconvenienced. As he got up, the chair let out an ominous crack. I stiffened. A small splinter of wood tumbled onto the porch. I closed my eyes. Ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. I let out a slow breath and lowered myself into the chair, brushing off crumbs as I did. Finally, I settled in, letting the gentle creak of the rocker soothe me. And then, crack. The chair gave out completely. I hit the ground with a hard, unforgiving thud, my book flying out of my hands. Pain shot up my spine. My breath caught in my throat. Ryan rushed forward. "Lisa. Are you okay?" But I wasn't listening. My eyes had locked onto the book in front of me. My book. My beautiful, treasured book. It was now covered in pink hearts and stick figure princesses. The twins had colored all over it. That was it. Out! I bellowed, my voice shaking the very walls of the house. Ryan's face fell. "I'm so sorry." And without another word, he walked inside, shoulders slumped. The next day, I stood by the window, arms crossed, watching as Ryan gathered his family in the guest room. His voice was low, his shoulders tense. I couldn't hear the exact words, but I knew what he was saying. They had to leave. His mother, Regina, frowned, lips pursed like she was sucking on a lemon. Karen was whispering something to Ron, shaking her head, clearly unhappy about the abrupt change in plans. The twins whined, clinging to their father's legs. Even Ryan's younger brother, Will, slumped against the wall, looking like he'd rather be anywhere but here. Guilt twisted inside me, but I pushed it down. This was my house. My life. My peace that had been shattered the moment they arrived. And yet, watching Ryan as he stood there, shoulders hunched, eyes cast downward, I felt a different kind of ache. Shame hung off him like a heavy coat. The house was finally quiet. The constant background noise, the clatter, the shouting, the chaos, was gone. And yet, for the first time since they arrived, the silence didn't feel comforting. It felt wrong. I stepped onto the porch and found Ryan crouched over something. His hands moved carefully, his brows drawn together in concentration. "What are you doing?" I asked softly. He didn't look up. "Finishing up." I took a few steps closer and then saw it. My rocking chair. The same chair that had shattered beneath me the day before. The chair his father had taken over. The chair that had been mine until it wasn't. Now, it was patched up. The legs were reinforced with nails, a few strips of duct tape wrapped around one of the arms. It wasn't perfect. The wood didn't match where he had replaced a piece. It looked worn, a little rough. But it was whole. Ryan stood and tested it, rocking back and forth. Then, he reached into his jacket and pulled something out. A book. My book. The same one the twins had destroyed. But brand new. Unmarked. Pristine. My throat tightened. "Ryan," I whispered. He exhaled, rubbing the back of his neck. "I know my family's a lot," he said, voice softer than usual. And I can't change them. But I can fix what they mess up. That's all I can do. My chest ached. We'll leave tonight, he continued. I'm sorry. I hesitated. The words formed before I even realized I was saying them. Wait. He looked up, his brows raised slightly. I swallowed hard. Don't go. My voice was quieter than I meant, but it was steady. I was wrong. This is hard. But I love you. And your family is part of you. Ryan studied me for a long moment. Then, finally, a slow smile pulled at his lips. You sure? Because they will test you. I let out a breathy laugh. I'll adjust. He pulled me close, wrapping his arms around me, and I let him. Because sometimes, love isn't just about passion. It's about the chaos that comes with it, and choosing to stay anyway. Write in the comments what you think about this story and subscribe to our channel D-Damn Mix.